you know that every word you speak matters? Are your conversations making a difference? With a passion for words and a heart for conversation, Teresa Velardi is a self-professed word nerd, best-selling author, BizCat 360 columnist, and publisher. Children's books as well as fiction and nonfiction books are welcomed at We Be Books Publishing and Book Endeavors, the imprints of her company, Authentic Endeavors Publishing. Whether written or spoken, Teresa strives to encourage and inspire meaningful conversations that make a difference. Here's the host of Conversations That Make a Difference, Teresa Velardi.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of Conversations That Make a Difference. I'm so excited to be here with you. Just so that you know, this show airs every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern and 5 a.m. Eastern. I'm not live at 5 a.m., but you can watch me live at 5 p.m. and on Dreamvisions 7 radio network. And today we have a couple of really great guests joining me as we launch the third book in the series, the transformational series, Sacred Stories of Transformational Hope, Mayhem to Miracles. This is the third book, and Eileen Bild and Dom Brightman are both authors in one or more of the books that are in the series. The other two books are Crappy to Happy and Chaos to Clarity. And we're going to talk about those in just a minute. So first, I'd like to start off with a prayer, and I would like to start with the Serenity Prayer. For those of you who know that prayer, you can join in with us. Just close your eyes and join in. But I want to just give a minute to why I chose this prayer. There's so much crazy stuff going on in the world and in the lives of people around me, and people just don't know how to cope. And for me, one of the ways that I cope with change, I cope with what seems to be insanity in this world, is to go to my maker, who I choose to call God. And so I have to recognize what I can and what I can't call mine. One of the big questions that I ask myself when I'm faced with a situation is, does this belong to me? And I can get rid of a lot of stuff that doesn't belong to me by using this prayer. So let's start with that Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I also want to share something that I use on a regular basis. It's another prayer that I created. It starts off, God, I am so grateful to be fabulous, blessed, and highly favored while living in my greatness, using my God-given gifts and talents with passion and purpose. I am making a difference in the lives of others, and all of God's great universe is conspiring in my favor. And I wish that, I pray that for all of you. So it's with great gratitude that we can all say, Amen. Okay, so let's introduce our guests. Let me start with Dom Brightman. Dom is an award-winning speaker and certified member of the John Maxwell team. He is a best-selling author of Going North, Tips and Techniques to Advance Yourself, Stay the Course, The Elite Performer's 7 Secret Keys to Sustainable Success, and he is a contributing author to the second book in this series, Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy. So Dom also, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Dom also hosts the Going North podcast, a top-rated self-help podcast that interviews authors from all over the world. And his mantra is advance others to advance yourself. That almost sounds like a Zig Ziglar thing to me, and we'll get into that in a minute. My other guest is Eileen Bild. Eileen is the CEO of Ordinary to Extraordinary Life. She has, along with her husband, a world-renowned multimedia and production company. She works with purpose-driven professionals, giving them platforms to share their passion, vision, and dreams through Hotel Productions, that's OTEL, Hotel Universe, and a Universal Voice. They specialize in Roku channel development for individuals, businesses, and nonprofits, video production, and extended services for growth, innovation, and creative expression. Eileen is also an internationally syndicated columnist, a published author, and breakthrough spark coach. We're going to talk about that too. So welcome, Eileen and Dom. How are you?
Hi, we're great. Thank you.
Good to see you. So Eileen, let's start with you. You have stories in both of the books, Crappy to Happy, Mayhem to Miracles, and you were also in the first one, Chaos to Clarity.
Yes.
Okay. And your story, let's talk about Mayhem to Miracles. Because we are launching that today. You have triumphed through miracles, and you gave some words of wisdom in the back of the book. And I just want to share that for a minute. Life has a way of showing up how we live, showing us how to live. So when we get to the point in the future, rather than hindsight, we can feel empowered by the choices we have made. Share a little bit about your story in Mayhem to Miracles and how you lived through this. You live this way in order to be able to empower yourself and to empower others. So share a little bit about that, please. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Yes, I'd love to share my story, which is ongoing. You know, it's a kind of a lifelong journey. Mm-hmm. And this is another piece of it. I know, right, Tom? So I was actually very healthy. I'd had a 10-year run of just doing really well in life, and life was good. And then one morning I woke up and my wrist was swollen and red and itchy. And we have a cat, so I thought, oh, it might be cat scratch fever. So I treated it. And the next day it was worse. So I called the doctor, went in, and we suspected it might have been a spider that had bitten my arm. And so he gave me some topical antibiotic. Didn't get better, so I went back, gave me oral antibiotic. That didn't help. So I finally did some testing, some blood tests, and it showed that it had advanced to an autoimmune issue. So apparently I had a dormant marker for autoimmune, and the venom must have activated that and put my body into fight or flight, and put me on a path totally going down into a rabbit hole of almost taking my life to where, because I like to do things as naturally and holistic as possible, immediately when I woke up that first morning, I started treating it also at home with homeopathic remedies. And I think that saved me, because we do pretty much 100% believe that it was a brown recluse, which can be very deadly. And I didn't lose my arm because it could have, gone into necrosis. And but because of my belief system and the power of thought and my desire to heal and not be a victim, I think between that and then the physical treatments, I was able to really go on a path of healing. And that was 5 years ago. For like the first 2 years, I couldn't be in the sun. I lost about 10, 15 pounds, got down about 105 pounds because I couldn't hardly eat anything. I became very reactive to anything with vinegar, anything that was spicy. So it was basically saltine crackers and applesauce and, what solid food I could digest. But I pushed through. I still worked. I still did video productions. I still did what I had to do. And, whenever I needed to lay down, I would. But otherwise, I just kept telling myself, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to heal, and realize that it's just another bump in the road and it's not my time to go.
Our words are so powerful, and how we think, what we think about, we bring about. And I know that it's amazing that you survived that spider bite. And if it was a brown recluse, you are truly a walking miracle, because those things are deadly. They're tiny, tiny little things, and yet their sting is just so ridiculously venomous that they've actually taken lots of lives. And people don't tend to talk about that, but so your life is much different now that you have used what you know, and you stepped in for your own self-care, and really are living a good life right now. We'll get back to
Absolutely.
yeah, awesome.
Yes. And the triumph through miracles is all about life unfolds in layers and levels, whether it's physical action or healing from a conditioned disease. And so what I've noticed over the period of time that I got bit to now is my body itself is healing in levels and layers. And little things happen along the way that I call the little miracles. And one of them I mentioned in the book, which is I went to eat one night a salad, and I've been avoiding the red onions because they're a little on the spicy side, and I've had to avoid spices. But my body wanted it. It's like I listened to my body, and I kept getting this voice, put the onions on this salad. So I did. And when I took the first bite, it was like this rush went through my body, like my body was saying, yes, that, I can take this now. So, part of the healing process, it's not just physical, but it's also the emotional and the understanding that everything is related and interrelated.
Yes.
And so, yes. And so I've been saying yes to life more, and that this too shall pass, and I will beat this. And I say it all the time, I will beat this, and
Yes.
I will get my health back to normal. And my rheumatologist says, yeah, right. she said, yeah, tell me when you're done and healthy and you don't need me anymore. And I said, you watch, I'm going to do it.
Stay away from the naysayers, right, Dom?
Amen to that.
So you had a situation happen in your life, an accident of some kind, much different than what Eileen experienced, but somehow that was a turning point for you. It says in the little snippet that's in the back of the book, with the knowledge I have now, I would have taken a different route on my way to class that day and started my personal growth journey sooner. But it feels more rewarding after the accident, because no matter what happens, if you're still alive after that moment, you have someone to teach, inspire, and encourage. Let's talk about what happened to you. And you, by the way, study a lot of my favorite people who are bringing inspiring words to the world: John Maxwell, Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, a lot of those people. So let's talk about how your life changed, what happened, and what was the turnaround situation for you.
Yeah, that's right. The turnaround situation, indeed. It was definitely an interesting year when that happened. It was back in 2012, where folks thought the world was going to end with that wonderful movie 2012. And all that really happened in the US of A is that we lost Twinkies for a month. That's really what happened. But don't worry, that wasn't part of, well, then again, it's part of the joke, but it's not part of the story, though. What actually happened in the story was actually day of my 21st birthday, was on my way to IT security class that day. And as I was about to make a left turn, my brake jammed in my car, and it basically skidded into the curb, and then my car crashed, and then traffic was basically stuck for a good 90 minutes. That was probably the most hated guy in that part of Maryland that day. Since traffic is a regular occurrence, and folks are usually on their way to work, but hey. And thank God I didn't have any broken bones or anything that day, but there was still a broken part of me, because that was actually the middle of the whole, I guess, setback sandwich, because a month before, my father actually went out for a usual drive that he usually takes, and somehow, some way, he ended up in a town called Silver Spring, Maryland, about a good 40 miles outside of Baltimore. And we're like, how the heck did you end up there, man? And Comes to find out, some police officers in the area caught him driving on the wrong side of the road, and he ended up being diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And that was really just the beginning of it. The signs were there the whole time, but that was the big sign that really put it in for me and the rest of the family. Like, hey, I got to pick up the slack for my dad. He can't drive anymore if he's driving to random places that we never go to and driving on the wrong side of the road. We just can't have him doing that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like with not only that and the car accident, being called into a meeting with my boss at the time, because the thing is, I like to, or at least a lot of folks, they like to try to separate the personal and professional. But the thing is, they usually go hand in hand, because what happens in your personal life will show up in your professional life subconsciously in ways when you may not even be paying attention. Because I wasn't carrying that same elite performance attitude I thought I had, and I wasn't really being as good as I thought I was, because there were some miscommunication issues. They listed everything I was doing wrong, and I'm like, dang, so something really had to change. And that led me to actually finding my own acres of diamonds right where I was, in the leadership section of the library, picking up a book by John Maxwell, then finding Brian Tracy and all those other wonderful people to really learn to love reading again, and realizing that growth is indeed happiness. And just that mayhem really became a miracle. Just to play on today's theme, like, your mayhem can become a miracle.
I agree. Totally agree. And, I wrote in all three of these books. I so totally relate to what you said just now about your business life and your personal life being intertwined with one another. And I don't know whoever started this quote. I'm not taking credit for it. It was anonymous, I think, or it's been laid out in so many different things. How you do different ways by different people. How you do anything is how you do everything, right? So what if it's in your personal life this way, it's usually going to be in your business life that way, and in your friendships and whatever. So who you bring to the table in any aspect of life is the same person. Are you putting your best foot forward? So it sounds to me like you went in search of your best feet. Tom, did you?
Oh yeah, but don't worry, the heels weren't high though. Don't worry.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So you threw me there. Anyway,
Mission accomplished.
I'm trying to picture, like, I've seen some of your pictures on a couple of different platforms, your radio show, your Facebook page, and just the picture of you wearing high heels. I'm sorry, it just sent me off there. So,
hey, I gotta stay fabulous and chocolate, right?
There you go. So one of the things that I'm glad you did this, because one of the things that as a host of a show, and this speaks to all of us, we have to have a sense of humor. We have to be able to, regardless of what the situation is, have to bring a little bit of humor into the conversation to lighten it up, especially with the world the way that it is today. Everybody has 1,000,001 questions. They don't know who to turn to. They don't know who to listen to. Somebody's saying one thing, another person's saying another thing. Sometimes the same person is saying two different things. So you want to talk about confusion? Let's talk about that. But bringing a sense of, being lighthearted and humorous, it always makes the journey a little bit lighter, a little bit less daunting, because there are a lot of people in my life right now. One friend in particular is going through a really difficult situation, having nothing to do with anything. It's a personal situation. And she finds it really hard to bring humor to the situation. So when I get on the phone with her, I make her laugh. That's my goal, just make you laugh. So, and I think, like, even with your situation, Eileen, I would imagine there is something to be said for laughter is the best medicine. How did you manage to get through your situation? And did it involve, you know what? I'm going to ask you to hold for that, because I think we have to go to commercial break in like less than a minute. So I'm going to turn this over to our producer, Rachel, as we do that. And I'll ask you that question again. So we're listening to Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, Conversations That Make a Difference. I'm Teresa Velardi. We'll be back right after this break.
What if dreams can diagnose your life? What if we can meet the love of our life in dreams? Join host Kat O'Keefe Canavas, the #1 internationally best-selling author of Dreams That Can Save Your Life, written with Duke University medical doctor Larry Berg. Dreaming Healing is where we'll explore dreams, research, and interpret dreams from you, the caller. Dreaming Healing shows can be heard every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Are miracles real? Can you move from mayhem to miracles? 30 prominent authors say yes as they share their high fives and down lows of challenges, abuse, addiction, and love. Experience hope, the magic elixir of miracles, through the personal stories of New York Times bestselling authors James Redfield, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Sister Jenna, Reverend Temple Hayes, and many more. If you like bestsellers, chaos to clarity, and crappy to happy, you'll love crying and laughing through Mayhem to Miracles. Sacred stories of transformational hope. Available now on Amazon and in bookstores worldwide.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. For over 40 years, Omega has seen more than 1 million people come through its doors to grow, learn, and find a greater sense of purpose. With over 350 workshops to choose from, Omega offers something for everyone. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
This is Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Every time that commercial comes on, I let life flow. It just like brings me to a different place. And I comment about it all the time. And I'm sorry if I keep repeating myself, but that's just like a reminder to me, even as a host, as for myself, to just take a deep breath as we move into the next conversation. So Diane, I'm sorry, but I do that again. Eileen, I apologize.
It's okay.
I'm having a great day today.
It's okay. I think Diane and I look a little bit alike.
Yeah. So we talked about having a sense of humor. Let's have a conversation about how did you get through? Was humor part of your recovery from? Is it part of your recovery from this devastational situation that you experienced? And from another perspective, you help people get themselves situated with Roku channels and get them a platform to bring their messages to the world. How does humor, help your business and help you in your personal recovery from what you've experienced?
That's a great question. And I was thinking while they have the commercial playing, how humor plays in. And for me, it's really more about joy, peace, and happiness. And humor kind of weaves in with all of that. I actually teach mindfulness meditation. So for me, it's about being mindful and being centered. And because I do believe that I have that background, I have a master's in transpersonal psychology. And so I have this really strong background in being able to take a challenging life experience and center myself and push myself through. And as part of that, to look at life from the perspective and through the lens of I'm going to get on the other side of this, whether that means I need to be laughing more or I need to be more joyful, have the gratitude attitude every day. And I really strive daily and throughout the day to not allow the what ifs, could have, should have, why me, why did this happen? Why is it taking so long to heal? And not question, the path that I'm on, and instead look at being grateful for where I am, because I am alive, and I am, looking at me, you wouldn't think that I have any challenges, and my challenges are getting smaller and fewer. And I've learned, I've learned to find the right protocols, whether it's my thinking, my eating, my supplements I take, whatever it is. And I work with both the allopathic and the naturopathic communities. And I trust my intuition of what's working, what's not working. So I live life on my terms. And I believe humor is one of the best medicines. And I try to smile daily, and I try to inspire others through my own healing and my own process to see life that, life is good, despite and in spite of whatever negative that we're being led to look at and believe in on a daily basis, that there is goodness happening, and there's little miracles, mayhem to miracle in our life. We should pay attention to that. They're little golden nuggets, but they play a big part in our life. And humor and being joyful and happy, and instead of being in that state of being the victim, because the victim doesn't help you move forward. So in the case of your friend, if she could just find, one thing to be grateful for starting tomorrow or today, then that opportunity to start seeing those little miracles in her life will evolve, and then her situation can change.
Yes, absolutely. And, it's funny you mentioned gratitude. That's like I have a page on Facebook called Grateful Hearts. And right now, actually starting the last show that we did 2 weeks ago with a couple of other authors in the series, we started the Gratitude A to Z game. Every day you find 3 things you're grateful for that begin with the letter of the day. You make a powerful statement of about yourself using that letter. And it's a wonderful way to shift your mind and get yourself thinking about out of the box. Like, really, I'm grateful for certain people in my life who I see on a regular basis, and those who I haven't seen in a long time. So I'm grateful that they show up. I'm grateful for the little things. But the beauty of doing it A to Z is it gets us out of the rut, of the gratitude rut, because we can get there, right? So I'm grateful for the warm bed I sleep in at night. I'm grateful for that the sun rose, that God woke me up today, that whatever. Anyway, it keeps you out of the rut. It makes you think about everything from A to Z to be grateful for. So that's a huge part of it. And I think that shifts us also into the ability to laugh about some of our circumstances instead of, as you say, staying in the victim stance. So Dom, you obviously have a good sense of humor. And let's talk about how you use that when you're interviewing people that are coming to you as authors. Let's talk about who the people are that you usually like to interview, and how that experience has changed your life, benefited your life as well.
Yes, indeed. Some of my favorite people to interview. Definitely those who are fun too, and that can take a great joke. I love those types of people. Those are my favorite types of people to interview. And sometimes the ultra serious people too, because if I could make them laugh and get them to be less serious, that's an extra victory for me. Heck, even that kind of even pushes me to even try even harder to say something a little outrageous within reason. Kind of an oxymoron there, but hey, I'm going with it. And funny enough, quote from some call him the sales king, Jeffrey Gitomer, is that if you can make them laugh, you can make them buy. And we're not just talking about from the sales perspective here, but just for folks to really buy into the idea that their health will become better as a result of laughter, buy into the idea that they will become better as a result of laughter, that they can feel a little bit more lighter, because a light heart can lift up heavy burdens. And laughter is one of the easiest ways to make that happen. Heck, even humor is one of the easiest ways to human connection, because if you both find something funny, then that lessens the tension, especially if it's in a room full of tension. And I'm pretty sure those are easy to find nowadays. It's like shooting ducks in a row, metaphorically speaking, finding rooms full of tension. And if you could just break that tension with some humor, then you'll definitely feel better about it. So definitely folks from kind of both ends of the spectrum, folks that are fun, great conversationalists. If we can have great conversations, that's beautiful. And if they're ultra serious or they're ultra nervous, and then I can make them laugh, and then it's like, okay, good. Now they can start talking and they can share something new. There's another thing too with all these shows is that sometimes we can see ourselves as metaphorical rock stars. If you go to a concert, folks may enjoy hearing certain songs. If an artist drops a new song, you're like, the heck is this? And sometimes in podcasts, it gets in reverse. Like, hey, if you get them to laugh and you get them to enjoy themselves, they may share something new, and then they feel more comfortable as a result. And especially with the folks from the Sacred Stories media crew and the publishing crew, like, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. Heck, even some of the most pleasant voices ever, too.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And you know, the beauty about these interviewing the authors from these books is that you know they've been through whatever it is that has created their mayhem, and to see them come through into the miracle state is really, really uplifting. And in my situation, the story that I wrote from Mayhem to Miracles was A Little Glimpse of Heaven, which came from my mother's passing. And I'll just tell you a little bit about it, because I think the humor actually came into play at that very moment where she was partially in this world and partially in the next. So I was talking with her a couple of nights before. Actually, I think it was probably the night before she passed away. It could have been 2 nights, but anyway, I'm sitting on the bed, we're having a conversation, and all of a sudden she's off and she's looking in the corner of the room, and I can't get her attention for anything, not for anything. And all of a sudden she starts to giggle. I'm like, what is so funny? What could possibly be funny? And then I thought for a second, I said, all right, who's here? And so she started naming all of my deceased relatives. And I said, and what are they doing? And at that moment, she looked me straight in the eye and she said, they're cooking the pasta for the party. I'm going home. And I was just like so filled with joy for her, because in that moment that she said, they're cooking the pasta for the party, I'm going home, I was like, I imagined myself as a little kid with all of these people who have now crossed over to the other side. And my grandmother and my aunt used to fight over who was going to have Sunday dinner. And after Sunday dinner was over, we would go to a second kitchen, and each one of them had a second kitchen in their home. The women would go make the pasta for the next week's meal and get it in the freezer, and the guys would play cards. So it brought me back to being a child and in the presence of all these people who now she was seeing, getting a glimpse of, and would see very shortly thereafter. So that brightened up my heart. So, there was a bit of humor involved. My mother was a hoot and a half. She was a lot of fun. So, and so was my father. So I didn't have any choice. I had to go down that path. But, so what I want to ask you, Eileen, is when somebody comes to you for a channel, can you give a little bit of information on how you use your channel to get messages like this, whether it be on your own channel or whether on a channel that somebody may be looking to start with you? So how do you use that for the greater good?
Great question. Roku is just like another platform for reaching a broad audience that's global. The cool thing about it is that you can watch it on a huge TV screen, and it's an opportunity for presenting, whether it's podcasts or talk shows or information, workshops, commercials, sponsorships. I mean, pretty much it's any way you want to set it up. And we work closely with our clients to help them with their branding, to make sure that if they have a YouTube channel, that it all combines and matches with their Roku channel. And that really their message is to inspire, share their voice, their passions that they have, and to be able to take all that information for whatever it represents, and express it through the information that's on the channel. And so, it can be different categories, up to 25 categories. Each category has 40 videos, and you can set it up in so many different ways. It can be a variety channel, or it can be geared towards specifically whatever a product or service is. So there's all kinds of different options and opportunities. And then we also promote and put it out there. And we've created this awesome OTL Universe community that includes media partners, business alliances, and creative artist alliances. So it's a family, and it just keeps growing, and it's all over the world.
That's awesome. And you're a media partner for this group of books, correct? Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
So how has interviewing all of these authors that you've interviewed so far changed your life?
Oh, I'm just inspired by the stories of resilience and how everybody has been able to find stability and be heart-centered after having traumatic experiences. And some of what's been shared in this book is horrible, the things that people have been through. And yet every single one of us can stand on our 2 feet and feel empowered, and also inspire others to have hope that whatever they are going through right now, you don't have to be there forever. That if we can come out of our hardships and our struggles, you can too. And to read the stories and listen to these interviews to understand what it has taken to go from the mayhem to the miracles to where we each are, which I believe we're all still growing, evolving, and transforming. But because of these experiences and coming through to the other side, we're stronger, wiser, and more, again, empowered.
Exactly. Thank you. Don, you've interviewed a lot of these authors as well. So how has that affected your life from the side of learning about people's circumstances and how they've overcome? Because each one of these books is a transformational story. They're all transformational stories. The first one was transformational change, then transformational joy, and this is transformational hope. So how has interviewing these authors changed you as a podcast host, as an individual? How have you benefited from doing this?
Oh, it's been a major benefit. It's been a huge benefit. I'm telling you, it's like a giant, I'd say around a good fleet of hot air balloons of awesomeness. Just to play on the wonderful book cover, because all the stories, I love the fact that really it's just real people with real stories, because in this age where vulnerability is one of the main things that folks are desiring, it's where folks are sharing moments when they were vulnerable, moments when they had setbacks, moments of pain, moments that eventually became a moment of pleasure afterwards, where they got to see the joy within that pain. And it's just really just reading all these great stories, hearing the great voices behind those that wrote these stories and are keep writing these stories, because this is only the beginning. There's probably at least 3+ more books on the way every year with these wonderful projects and the wonderful folks that just keep on coming to these wonderful projects like a giant magnet. And just me personally, just feeling the inspiration, helping me realize that, hey, even though folks may have different skills and talents, it doesn't really matter what they may be, because at the end of the day, we still all go through setbacks. And if we can find a way to use that as a story forward for positive change, for positive joy, for positive growth and hope, then it's something that will help us to continue in all of those areas and more. So it's really just been a wonderful, I'd say, gift that I didn't even have to wrap or even unwrap, just have to just jump in and enjoy. And for those who get to listen to those wonderful authors speak and share their stories as well to inspire others.
Awesome. Yeah. And I've experienced the same thing, like reading these stories has really given me, I mean, listening to you, Eileen, overcome what you've overcome is really like, gives me hope that, you know, regardless of whether you are a believer in allopathic medicine or natural medicine, that where there is a will, there is a way, you know. So if your life will is strong enough, you're going to do whatever it takes. And that's exactly what you did. And we are going to go to a break in just a minute, but I want to also tell everybody, if you're listening to this on YouTube, you can, I believe that the links for the books have been put in the chat. And if you are listening to this as a replay, the links would be inside the description for the book, for this recording, and the books are all listed there. You can just click and go get them on Amazon.com and enjoy reading the stories, sacred stories of transformational hope in Mayhem to Miracles. And with that, we're going to take a break. You're listening to Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network, and I'm Teresa Velardi. We'll be right back.
Darkest hours to brightest moments, transformation from despair to happiness, and chaos to clarity. Real people, real pain, real healing. Life-threatening illness, death, abusive relationships, divorce, and overcoming addiction are challenges these men and women faced head-on. See how they emerged stronger and happier. Buy the new book, Chaos to Clarity, Sacred Stories of Transformational Change, by Reverend Patricia Caginello and Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. Available on sacredstoriespublishing.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers.
In a world facing annihilation, a miraculous African nun rises to become the first female pope through a web of war, murder, and betrayal. Loved by some, hated by many, she becomes the deadly target of Islamic terrorists and her own cardinals as she introduces a new vision that will either save humanity or accelerate its destruction. 4 people must race against a nuclear holocaust. To learn her astonishing secret, Pope Annalisa is available at petercanova.com, Amazon, and other online booksellers and bookstores worldwide.
Did you know that every word you speak matters? What you say and how you say it can make or break a relationship or shift the outcome of any situation. Are your conversations making a difference? Faith in God, gratitude, authenticity, and giving are Teresa Velardi's heart. It's in this spirit that she's focused on making a difference in the lives she's blessed to touch. Conversations That Make a Difference is now on syndicated Dreamvision 7 Radio Network every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Why are we here? How can we be happy? Questions asked from millennials to boomers. Crappy to happy. Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy answers them using true stories of grit, grace, and love. James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy, wrote in the foreword, "This book is a seminar about emerging truths and offers grounded solutions through the art of the comeback." Dr. Bernie Siegel, a contributing author, wrote, "Bodies die, but spirits and consciousness survive and recycle." So, grab some tissues, open your book, and prepare to cry and laugh till it heals. Crappy to Happy by Reverend Ariel Patricia and Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and booksellers worldwide.
This is Dreamvision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
There's that reminder to breathe. Welcome back. We're in our last segment. We only have a little bit of time left. Boy, this has gone fast. This has gone really fast. So I want to ask, besides being people who are promoting this book through your platforms, How has this changed? How has it changed your life to be an author in these books? And I know that you've got both of you have actually other things that you've published, but these books, being in a group kind of setting with all these other authors in these collaborative books, these anthologies, if you will, how has this changed your life? And and would you do it again? Would you do it again? I want to just say this. I have written in many anthology books. And what it does for me is it gives me the opportunity to search my soul and what I want to say and how I want to show up in terms of making myself vulnerable. Because let's face it, one of the big things that we have to do as authors is we have to be real and authentic about who we are and how our lives have been affected by the various situations. So Dom, I'm going to go to you first. How has being an author in a collaborative book where people are always, each one of them has to go and be vulnerable about what was a mess and how they got through it?
I have to say it's definitely a fun and enlightening experience. Wasn't too bad since the wounds weren't too fresh with some of the stories, at least with the Crappy to Happy story, but really just the chance to really get the story out there in a in a way, metaphorically, getting more cream cheese around the bagel of earth. In a way, that's still kind of the way I see it. It's just getting my voice out there and an opportunity just to collaborate with more super special, awesome humans, because there are so many benefits to being with a collaborative book, especially an anthology like this, because the folks who are spearheading the project, they know what they're doing, and the folks that they bring on, the stories that are shared, they're great stories, they're real stories that can encourage and inspire others, and just the networking opportunities as a result, like connecting with you recently, Teresa, and of course Eileen back when Chaos to Clarity launched, and just seeing her growth as a result over these past couple of years since then. It's really inspiring. So yeah, heck yeah, I'd do it again. Like it. And it's so much easier than doing your own solo project too. That's another thing too. So if you're feeling lazy and you don't want to do the whole entire book, but you got a real good story to share, then jump on a great anthology book, especially if it's with Sacred Stories Publishing. Just saying.
Yeah. And Kat Canavas is a very dear friend of mine, and she invited me to be part of these. And I usually try and jump on the opportunities because it also like from the networking perspective, as you said, it also enables me to meet new people and create new relationships. And I'm all about conversation, even though I'm having trouble talking today. I'm all about conversation, and they do. Every conversation makes a difference. So each one of these stories is literally a conversation. Every single one of them is a conversation. Eileen, how has this affected you as an author and being part of the anthology series?
Well, I have to ditto what both of you have said, and then I'll just add a little. I think it's humbled me into that I feel honored, truly honored to be in a community of such great, not just people, but hearts. Everybody who contributes to these books, they don't do it for fame. They do it because they truly want to share their story, and they come from that heart center of I want to share with you what I've been through, because someone listening or watching or reading the book might be going through the same thing. And again, it's about the hope, the hope and the inspiration that my story could change somebody else's life and perhaps even save a life. And I think coming into a collaborative project just makes it that much stronger, because multiple voices, I think, can be heard louder than just one voice. And I know for myself, and you guys may be the same, we have to really, when we bring it down to just those few pages, we have to really find what's the meat of the experience that can be impactful for the reader. And so, really caused me to dive into the heart of, into the depths of the experience and pull out the golden nuggets or the diamond of the story, so that it can be understood at that deeper level.
Absolutely. And, the vulnerability piece also makes it that much easier for people, as you say, and as we've said before during this conversation, who are going through similar situations to be able to come through to their other side. And that takes courage. So for each person who has shown up fully with their stories and these books, and this book particularly that we're talking about today, Mayhem to Miracles, kudos to every single one of you for showing up, and even in the crappy to happy. I mean, every single one of them has stories that I know for me, I had to push the courage button in order to write some of the stuff that I wrote in these books, and in additional collaborative ventures that I've been part of, so it makes you get out of your own way.
That's a good way to put it.
That's the best way I can think about it. It makes you get out of your own way. If you just really go deep and say, I'm sharing this because not just for myself, because sometimes it's very cathartic writing stories like this, but for the person who does not yet have a voice on how to get through a situation that they may be going through that was similar to yours. What about you, Dom?
Yeah, definitely could say that again. Indeed. Because, folks want genuine authenticity. Like, authenticity is one of the major buzzwords nowadays. Like, hey, we need you to be vulnerable, be authentic. But hey, if you want to be genuinely authentic, then sharing a story, and as you said, Teresa, so eloquently, pressing the courage button, because folks sometimes want to dodge that button and press the hide in the turtle shell button in form of a turtle shell and just stay in the corner somewhere. So I agree with you.
Yeah, and we've done enough hiding in the turtle shell over the last couple of years. I think it's time for everybody to burst out and sing joyfully in the streets. I really do.
Make sure it's not a busy street, though.
No. But we can stop traffic, though. We can stop traffic. Yeah. So I really want to say, I appreciate that. There are some people who have, like yourselves, you have been on board this journey from the first book, and you've helped other authors get their voices heard through your individual platforms, and in sharing and interviewing them. And it's just my great pleasure to be a part of this and a part of this conversation. And I want to remind everybody that you can get the books on Amazon.com. And the links will be available, and you can go to my Conversations That Make a Difference page. I'll put the link in that on Facebook, and we'll continue to share the message. Eileen, you have some people coming up on your show. Dom, I know you have some people coming up on your show. Can you share when each of you are actually going live with these so that the audience can listen in? Eileen, you first.
Okay, so I always record mine and then put them up on my YouTube. So I have a category on my YouTube called Mayhem to Miracles, and you can already see the ones that I've done so far and produced up on that category. And my YouTube is Eileen Build, so they can be found on there. And as I continue with the interviews, they'll be put there. And then I also will be putting them on the Hotel Talk Roku channel. So if you have Roku, you can add Hotel Talk to your menu, and then you can watch it on the big screen TV.
Awesome. That's awesome. And how can people get in touch with you, whether they want to talk about being a guest on your show, or whether they want to develop their own channel, or whether they just want to say hi and talk about and congratulate you and really talk about how you took care of yourself through this extremely challenging situation. So how can people get in touch with you? What's the best?
Okay, and I'd love to hear from people. They can reach me by email, info@hotelproductions.com. And you can also find that link on our website, hotelproductions.com. You can subscribe to my YouTube. If you want to friend request me on Facebook, Eileen Build, you can do that as well. And I'm also on LinkedIn under Eileen Build.
Awesome.
Or just Google me, or just Google me, and I'm like 3 pages deep
and
into
spell your
Google.
last name, Irene. Spell your last name.
B as in boy, ILD as in dog.
And it's Otel Production, OTEL, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Dom, anybody wants to get in touch with you, how will they do that?
Yes, indeed. So for those who want to get in touch with Mr. Radiance himself, thanks to these Zoom backgrounds, I could just point above my head to dombrightman.com if you're watching on the YouTube replay. So dombrightman.com. And if you also want to check out the Going North podcast, just the podcast itself, head over to goingnorthpodcast.com, and you can also click on the Sacred Stories Publishing tab, and you will hear not only the voices of some of the authors who've been in the wonderful book Mayhem to Miracles, but also some folks have been in the past books as well. So you get to hear Eileen's episode from 2 years ago, and then she's going to be back on in the future indeed. So so going to be spreading out the interviews for the next 3 months, since I've been 3 months ahead of schedule all year with the show. So yep, you're going to be getting all the Mayhem to Miracles sprinkles for all the fall and winter of this year.
Awesome. And we get to hear that incredible voice. It reminds me of like Don Imus in the morning back in the days of New York, where he had this really great radio voice, and you have a really great radio voice. So, and your email, in case anybody wants to get in touch with you to learn about becoming a guest, or do you have a contact tab on your website? What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, that's right. Folks can contact me on the website. There's a contact tab on dombrightman.com, and you can feel free to share me an email at dom@dombrightman.com on that fabulous site with the chocolate man himself, dombrightman.com.
The chocolate man. I love it.
I was fighting it, but I couldn't resist to say it. I had to say at least one chocolate reference today.
Right. Exactly. Well, I want to thank the both of you for coming on board today. I had a great time. I feel blessed to have been, had the opportunity to interview both of you. And I thank you for all that you bring to the world. I thank you for showing up for other people who have messages to share, because it's platforms like this that people get a chance to find their voice and to, really hone their message, because a lot of people out there, and I'm not just talking about in this particular time in the world, but it's been my experience as an author and as a publisher that people have a lot of trouble being vulnerable and sharing their truth and showing up authentically. And the fact that you guys show up that way, and I have the opportunity to have people show up themselves and really delve into, and as I said earlier, push the courage button and really tell their story. It's going to help not just you, but it will help other people as well. So I invite you to go to my website. You can go to AuthenticEndeavors.com, where you will also find Book Endeavors and Weeby Books Publishing. That Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas is my business partner on Weeby Books. And we invite you to tell your story, because every conversation that you have makes a difference. And with that, we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a good night.
Tune in next time for Conversations That Make a Difference with host Teresa Velardi every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday on syndicated Dreamvisions 7 radio network. Thank you for listening, and thank you to our producer Rachel and to our station owner Deborah Beauvais, working behind the scenes. Be sure to go to conversationsthatmakeadifference.com for your free gift. Make sure your conversations make a difference.
This is Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.